Hello, Jiggy Boys! Welcome to Burn Abyss deck profile. Burn Abyss is a deck that I would recommend to anyone who wants to start, any new players or any returning players. Burn Abyss is can go pretty even with every deck in the meta. It can grind really well. It's easy to learn, and Burn Abyss is not set in stone. There's a lot of different versions of Burn Abyss that you can play. They are competitive, they're viable, they're budget, they are fun. So there's a lot of flexibility and creativity in Burn Abyss. If you want to play a Chaos version, you can. You can play with Lavineer and Blacklisted Soldier, and you could play, of course, the Block BA with Block Dragon and there's a version. There used to be a version with a Orbital Hydrolander where you just play a bunch of one-offs. That's a deck as well. You could play this version. This is my personal favorite, PK Fire. So without any further ado, I will explain my tech choices, and I will briefly go over for those new players over Burn Abyss. So we're gonna play two Skarm. Skarm's a searcher. At the end phase, you search with Skarm. Every Burn Abyss monster has two effects. One is that you can, if you have no set spell traps, you can just special summon it. But then its graveyard effect is negated. The graveyard effect says that if a Burn Abyss monster goes to the graveyard for any reason, it will gain its own unique effect. Skarm is a searcher. Then we have a Farfa, which can banish a monster on the field. I used to play 3 and 3 of both of these, but I don't have enough space. For now, this is a fine ratio. Teolivik, when this one goes to the graveyard, you can special Burn Abyss from your hand, and it its effects on the field are negated. Also, I forgot to mention, every Burn Abyss says that if you control a card that's not a Burn Abyss, the Burn Abyss card would just blow itself up and go to the graveyard. So you can't have, like a tour guide and then you special summon one of these guys, they'll just kill themselves. So you have to make sure that you somehow get them on the field with their effects negated. One way is with Livik or tour guide. Next, the one-offs Seer. When he goes to the graveyard, he specials a Burn Abyss from the graveyard. Graph, he specials one from the deck. Those two are the best ones, but they're limited. Then the utility Burn Abyss monsters. We have Alec, which is essentially an effect veiler. Calcath, which bounces a spell trap on a field that is set. I've seen some people play two of these, and I'm tempted to do that myself because Calcav, having a second Calcav, or at least another one in the side, doesn't seem like a bad idea. Ruvik, Rubik is the only Burn Abyss monster that when he goes to the graveyard, he doesn't gain an effect, but he's a tuner. Next, for the last one, Barbar. Barbar, this it might seem a little anecdotal, but there's been a lot of situations where I could have won a game, I could have beat this guy, I could have been first place if I would have played Barbar. Barbar says that when he's sent to the graveyard, you can burn your opponent. You can banish up to 3 Burn Abyss monsters and burn for 300 each. So essentially, he can burn for 900. But the reason why he's so good is because you can basically do it at will whenever you want to. You could just burn and burn and burn because there is recursion in the deck. Next, to finish Rhino Warrior. We used to play 3 back in the day. You don't need to do that anymore because the Cherubini essentially does what he does but better. But Rhino is still a pretty good card. It's a very good for consistency. Rhino says that fiend type monsters you control, except himself, cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send one fiend type monster from your deck to the graveyard, and it's once per turn. So you could, for example, like if you play a pure version of Burn Abyss, you can normal him, and special as many Burn Abyss monsters from your hand, and like make a boar sword or something in OTK. Tour guide, tour guide, came off the list recently. So pretty good card, especially from the deck, and it negates effects. That's really good because that means that the Burn Abyss don't blow up. Now the PK, Boots. Boots says that if you control a Phantom Knights monster, you can special summon it. Also, you can banish it from the graveyard to add a Phantom Knight spell trap. Two, Ancient Cloak. Cloak says that I think it also gains a. You can target one dark monster on the field, change this card to defense, and if you do, that monster gains 800 attack and defense until the end of your opponent's next turn. Also, the other effect, you can banish it from the graveyard to add a The Phantom Knights card. So essentially, he can search all the monsters, Phantom Knights, and he can search certain Phantom Knight spell traps that say The Phantom Knights. So that's a look up for the difference of Phantom Knights and The Phantom Knights. That's important. One gloves. Gloves says that if it's used for an Xyz, the Xyz will gain 1,000 attack, and you can banish it from the graveyard to send Phantom Knight spell trap to the graveyard. Two, Psychic Wheeler. Psychic Wheeler is great when they Ash or Veiler imperm your tour guide, and then you use Special Wheeler and do the combo anyway. Wheeler is a tuner, which is important. Also, he says that if you control level 3, you can just special summon him, and he says that I'm trying to remember by heart. If you use it for a synchro summon, the synchro monster would can pop a card in the field if the other card has, I believe, less attack than itself. The other card, Psychic Tracker, which specials himself if you control level 3 as well. In defense, they both do in defense. It makes that synchro gain. If you use it for a synchro, it makes that synchro gain 600 attack. Last card, Gizmic Orochi. I'm sorry. Not the last card. Last monster, sort of. Gizmic Orochi. Essentially, we're trying to mimic what Orcus used to do by making Gizmic to survive. And if we mill it, that's great. Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is the most versatile hand trap. I know that Droll and Lockbird and all the cards are better against Spiral, but against Rogue, you might see more Rogue. So it's up to you on your hand trap preference. But Ash is the most essential of them all. Or win condition. Instant fusion. I'll explain that in a second. Foolish Burial, because we want stuff to be in the graveyard. 3 Allure of Darkness to boost their consistency. Some people might not like 3, some people might like 2, some people have a love and hate relationship with Allure of Darkness. Same thing with Power of Desires. I am scared to play 3. I do play 2. I play Power of Desires after I already did my combo, after I already made Graph and Seer go to the graveyard. Then it doesn't matter what I banish, because as long as I don't banish those two guys, then everything is fine. One Pot of Avarice. Pot of Avarice is great in Burn of Abyss. Amazing boost by Konami. And the last 3, Foglet. Foglet says that you can target one monster in the field. That monster effects are negated, and it cannot be targeted for attacks or for card effects. And that's the main deck. It's 42 cards. With Burn Abyss, it really doesn't matter that if you play a little bit over 40, because you're going to do a lot of deck thinning, so that kind of compensates for the fact that you're playing more than 40. 2, Dante. Dante is broken. Sometimes I want to play 3, which, that's not bad. If you want to play 3, cut whatever you want. Breaksword. Breaksword is one of our one of our boss monsters that we make when they have some type of floodgate, or some type of card that we want to pop. We make Break Sword. We force them to use their back row. We force them to use their negates. We force them to interact with us, and then we make our actual plays afterwards. The other Xyz we play is Beatrice. I used to play a lot more Xyz than this for, but Beatrice, she's our other boss monster. She sends any card from the deck to the graveyard, and if she's destroyed by battle or card effect, we can special summon Dante card from our extra deck. We have a Pilgrim. Now Pilgrim says that if we quick effect, you can send one Burn Abyss card from your deck from your hand to the graveyard to draw one card. He cannot be targeted, and if he's dealt with and he's destroyed, we can send one card from opponent's hand to the graveyard. Thousand Eyes Restrict is for the instant fusion. El Shaddoll Window. Now I was doing this before Shaddolls were getting so popular, but essentially we try to do the same thing Shaddolls do. But we can do more. We can have a Cherubini Winda, a Beatrice. We can have something among the lines of an IP Masquerena with a Cherubini and a Winda. So I'll show you guys a few combos. For the links, 2 Cherubinis because Cherubini is broken. Cherubini is a great card. IP Masquerena. Nightmare Unicorn. I'm not explaining too much of the extra deck, by the way, because some of these cards are staples, some of these cards are well known. So I just, if you're a new player or if you're a returning player, a lot of these cards, they're not that hard to understand. For or other boss monsters, Borlo Dragon to out any problem, Borso Dragon to win, and Crusadia Evermax, another boss monster, and my personal favorite spice, Brio. That's the extra deck. Essentially, we have a bunch of boss monsters. If that's what we want to do, that's the reason we play in Pot of Osiris and Pot of Avarice and Love of Darkness and Scarm, because we want to have more cards on our opponent. We want to survive. We want to slow our opponent down and plus along the way. Plus with Scarm, plus with Osiris, plus with Pilgrim, plus with just plus in general. And then we just make a boss monster after another and another and another. Once they get rid of those, we just keep making more and more. They get rid of that, then I have to deal with this and this and this. That's what Burn Abyss is to me. You just make a bunch of boss monsters and they get rid of one thing, you come back, you're the people's champ, and you do something else. Now let's go to the extra deck. The side deck, I'm sorry. Side deck, 3 Evenly Match. Evenly Match is a staple right now, and this would have been, Red Reboot, but Red Reboot's like 1. So this is the best replacement for it. Twin Twister. Twin Twister is great. Twin Twister is still pretty good. If you would like something different, because again, this would have been Pancratops, but Pancratops is at 1. There is a version of Twin Twister that's a monster, but that's just a theory. 3 Drone Lockbird for Spiral, and 3 Diddy Crow. Diddy Crow is a card, by the way, that it's really good if you understand your opponent's deck. If you know how to play their deck, then you know that Diddy Crow is like a good card. Like if you go against Salamangreats and you banish, their Spiny, or you banish their Jaguar, you banish like the right thing, then you put them in a situation where it's not just Spiral, it's like a bunch of decks. Like you wanna Diddy Crow the Master Plan when they have the targeted with Big Red. I learned that the hard way. Diddy Crow is just a card that the more you understand your opponent's deck, the stronger it gets, because then you know what to hit at what time. It is at once per turn. It's pretty good. So right now I'm just shuffling my deck, and we're gonna go to like a few combos. I wanna showcase one, with just having where are you? Just finish Rhino Warrior, and let's say any this one, Livik. Just a simple combo with with 2 cards. Well, 3 random cards. I just want to have at least Rhino Warrior in the hand so I can showcase. Like, oh, that's too good. Oh my god. Okay, whatever. Alright, so we're gonna normal the Rhino Warrior, right? Special the Livik, because we have no spawn traps. And then we will make IP Masquerena instead of Cherubini. Well, actually, I drew Instant Fusion, so I'm gonna regret that statement. We'll make Cherubini. Rhino Warrior effect. We're gonna send the... What's the best thing to send at the moment? The Graph, and Graph will special from the... So I send the Graph to the graveyard, by the way. It's just my camera can't capture everything. Special the Skarm. Cherubini effects to send as cost monster to the graveyard, a level 3 card to the graveyard. So we'll get this here. And now we could do a few things here. Like we could do Dante, but we don't really need to. Because I want to showcase this. So this two are gonna become IP Masquerena, and then Seer. I mean, if we wanted to, we could, but it doesn't really matter. Afterwards, we Instant Fusion, and we make Winda. End phase, we'll search for Skarm, so we'll search for Skarm something useful. Whatever you at the end phase, you can either use another tour guide, or something like I don't know. It depends, right? But so end phase, we search. Let's just say Farfa to our hand, and that'll be your ending board. I know you can't see, but this is a pretty good board. Now, instead of the IP Masquerena, we could have made a Dante and mill, hope for a boots to go to the grave, and then we could have had a Fog Blade. But the thing is, remember that we drew this, right? So we drew Instant Fusion, and we drew a tour guide. So I mean, there's no need to search another tour guide. If we would have drew another, like let's say instead, if we drew like another Burn Abyss instead of one these 2 cards, then essentially what we could have done instead, we could have made the Dante with the Beatrice, right? But it's up to you. I mean, this is a pretty good board, and I mean, it sucks that we drew 2 Instant Fusions, but this is a good thing to end on. So let's just go another combo. Alright, I'm shuffling the deck, and I want to emphasize that this now might be, you know, some boards might not be as impressive as Block BA, but Block BA loses to a hand trap sometimes, you know. Block BA is very fragile, and this deck, if we get hand trapped every now and then, like, it's okay, it's not a big deal. Okay, this hand's looking pretty good right now. A Allure of Darkness, sure, why not? Let's activate Allure of Darkness to see what we draw. So we draw a Livik, that's good. Oh, okay. So let's say goodbye to Barbar, I guess. Bye-bye, Barbar. You know what? Barbar means a lot to me, so we're gonna manage the Livik. Oh wait, I forgot. This is here. My bad. Alright, so the old play, I don't know if some of you remember, is you normal the Rhino, you special whatever, and then you will make on the Clock Taker. But instead, we don't need to do that. we can just make IP Masquerena instead. Now, Rhino effect, we do the same thing. We're just gonna, same thing as before. We're gonna send the graph, and then graph is gonna, oh, you know what, fam? I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Let's go back. I'm sorry. So we had this, right? I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. I'm sorry. So we make Dante, actually. Sorry, whoops. Yeah, I completely forgot my own combo. No, so we make Dante, then Dante effect. We mill 3 cards, so it's gonna be RNG. 1, 4, 5, 2, 3. That sucks, but it's okay, because I'm trying to showcase the combo. Now imagine if we would have gotten, boots or something. Anyways, Rhino effect. Now we special though. We send the graph to graveyard and graph effect. We're gonna. There he is. Seer. Alright, now we make IP Masquerena instead of Underclock Taker. See, it's the simplest change, but it's very effective. Now, effective Seer, when he's in the graveyard, we're gonna special Dante effect. We're gonna add back a Burn Abyss monster from our hand. So let's do that. There's Dante, and we can add anything we want. Let's just add the graph, because graph can do things sometimes. We can add this here later, and we're just gonna send this to the graveyard because of we're gonna make Beatrice now, if I can find it. There she is. Okay, so Beatrice, we drew an Ash, that's pretty good. We drew 2 actually, and then at the effect of this guy when he's into the graveyard, we're gonna special graph. So that's pretty good, right? Instead of making Underclock Taker, we just make IP, and it changes the dynamic of that whole old combo by a lot. So, and for those who don't know, IP Masquerena can quick effect link into something else with whatever cards you have. So, yeah, that's pretty good. If you liked the video, if you're a fan of Burn Abyss, you want to see more videos in the future, please like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna do another video on my version of Stalls, and I'm gonna do one on Orchist, because that deck's still good. People are not talking about it. People are not talking about the Spice, and Meramels, and a bunch of other decks in the future. Well, thank you, Jiggy Boys, and we'll see you next time.